Hi everyone, it's Chris and welcome back to another video. Thank you very much for joining me. Now recently I did a video on my favourite opening tracks from new wave and punk albums, and today I thought I'd share my favourite opening tracks from hard rock albums. So what I've got for you today is 30 songs from 30 different albums from 30 different artists. Songs that really grab your attention, that really set out the stall for the album, that are a great way to start the set of tunes that are coming after. So I've got 30. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So at number 30, got Armed and Ready by the Michael Schenker Group. This is from 1980, I think. Great debut album. He left UFO in '79, having recorded Obsession and the live album Strangers of the Night, which are two tremendous albums. Put his own band together, which was half decent, and this is a great debut. The single at the time was Armed and Ready, and that's the song that opens the album, the kind of natural opener. It's not the best song on the album, that's probably Cry for the Nations or Lost Horizons, but it's a great way to start it. Wonderful guitar tone Michael Schenker had. At number 29, a band you might not have heard of, I don't know, possibly. This is Shark Island, and this is the album Law of the Order, and the opening song is called Paris Calling, which is a brilliant hard rock song. It's got a lovely build up to it, great vocals, really good hard rock song. They do a nice version of the Chain Fleetwood Mac song on this as well, actually. So if you haven't heard it, stream it. It's wonderful. At number 28, I could have chosen a couple of songs by this band, but I've gone from the opening track from Stained Class by Judas Priest. Now I could have gone with Sinner from Sin After Sin, or I could have gone with Rapid Fire from British Steel, but I've decided to choose Exciter from the album Stained Class, a proto speed metal song. Great vocals from Rob Halford, great guitar from Glenn Tipton and KK Downing. A really, really good song, what is probably one of their best albums. At number 27 is a guy who often plays too many notes in a solo, Yngwie Malmsteen. This is his band Rising Force. The album is called Odyssey. The opening song is called Rising Force, and it's a really, really good hard rock song. It's got a tremendous opener, great vocals from Joe Lynn Turner on it, and is a little bit more understated than some of the other stuff he did. At number 26, a band that I don't think are that well known, Lone Star. This is the album, their second album, called Firing on All Six. This is from, I think, 77. And the opening song is called The Bells of Berlin, which is 7 minutes long and takes quite a while to get the vocals coming in, but is better off for it. It's a brilliant build-up and it's a tremendous song. The thing is, it's the best song by a country mile on this album. Now, this is an album that's got Paul Chapman on it, who replaced Michael Schenker in UFO. He's a good guitarist, although there's not many brilliant guitar moments on this. And a great vocalist in John Sloman, who went on to play with Uriah Heep. But Bells of Berlin by Lone Star, wow, brilliant. At 25, the opening song from the debut album from Iron Maiden, Prowler. What a great song that is. I love the version of Iron Maiden with Paul Di'Anno, who we sadly lost recently. I think he added so much edge to the band. I saw them on the Killers tour, which followed the album that followed the debut. I saw them on that tour, and he kind of added that sort of energy and rawness to the band, which was, you know, a really good part of the new wave of British heavy metal. But the band, the song Prowler, with its primitive riff and then its wah-wah guitar, is just a great way to start the album. Talking the new wave of British heavy metal, Motorcycle Man from Wheels of Steel by Saxon. What a great way to start the album. Leaves you absolutely breathless, as does the opening song, Machine Gun. What a way to bookend a group of songs. Talking about high energy, high octane openers, what about Ace of Spades by Motorhead? Leaves you pummeled into submission for the rest of the album. It's the highlight of the album for me. Great song. Next up is a song by a band. I've always loved this song. I think it's brilliant. This is High and Dry, the second album by Def Leppard, Mutt Lange produced. The opening song is called Let It Go, which is just a great hard rock song. It's really good. Now, yes, this album is more polished than their first one. It certainly signals a change of direction in their sound. Bringing On the Heartache is on this. But Let It Go is a great hard rock song and a really, really good opener. Fantastic opener. Next up, I could have chosen a number of songs by this band. So Natural Thing, Only You Can Rock Me. But I do love Let It Roll, a natural opener to the album. It's got that sustained note and then a good chugging riff comes in. It's great stuff. Let It Roll from the album Force It by UFO. It's not the best song on the album. There's Shoot Shoots on here, Mother Mary, Out in the Street, This Kid, some great songs on here. But Let It Roll, great opener. Next up is a band who, one of my favourite bands. When I look through their albums, I don't think they've got naturally a brilliant opening song as such, like has a real opening feel to it. But I do love the Red and Black from Tyranny and Mutation. It's really upbeat, really, sets the stall out, if you like, for this album. It's great. I also do like Godzilla from Spectres, and there's a song on that called Are You Ready to Rock, which opens up side 2, which probably would have been a good opener, maybe a bit cheesy possibly, but anyway, the Red and Black by Blue Oyster Cult. Oh, it's a great opening song. In 1981, I went on holiday to California. I was only 18. I went to see some relatives who lived near San Francisco. And a song that was really big on the radio at the time was The Stroke by Billy Squier. And as a result of that single, I bought the album that year as well in America. And this is the album, Don't Say No, Billy Squier from 81. And on here, on the credits, it's got, what's the drummer's name? Bob or Bill Shunard or something like that. And it hasn't got drums next to his name. It's got more drums. The drum sound on here is massive. So things like What You Want From Me, Lonely As The Night, The Stroke, You Know What I Like. There's some great drum sounds, great songs, a really good album. But the opening song, In the Dark, it's just a wonderful way to start the album. It's just brilliant. Brilliant opening song. Here's another brilliant opening song at 18, probably the heaviest song that Robin Trower did. Bridge of Sighs, the album, the song is Day of the Eagle. Tremendous song. That should have been on the live album. It's stupid it wasn't, but anyway, great song. Love it. What a brilliant way to start what is probably his best album. At number 17, the opening song, the title track from the album In for the Kill by Boogie. Hugely influential band. Didn't actually have much commercial success, sadly. But in For the Kill, they've got just a hard rock classic. This was a band that, alongside Black Sabbath, produced some of the greatest riffs in 70s British rock ever. They really did. Hugely influential. Influenced, people like Metallica for sure. But In For the Kill is a brilliant opener to what is a decent album. At number what is this? 16. We've got one of my favourite songs by. From one of my favourite albums by this band. So this is Hawkwind, Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do. The opening song is Brainstorm. I think it's brilliant. From 1972 on United Artists. Really good song. Real quintessential Hawkwind, chugging riff, spacey kind of sound. Absolutely love it. It's a brilliant song. Fantastic. At number 15. This is a guy who was often seen as a Jimi Hendrix copyist, certainly in the early days, but in 1980 he went much more hard rock. And I've gone with the opening song from What's Next by Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush. The song is called You Got Livin', which is a brilliant hard rock song, a great opener to the album. This album also features Something's Coming Our Way, which has got just the most gorgeous guitar work. If you don't know the album, You Got Livin', Something's Coming Our Way, you've got to hear those. So I nearly chose Requiem for a Sinner from the album World Anthem by this lot, but in the end I went for You Got Livin' from What's Next by Frank Marino. Next up is on CD. This is John Norum, who is the guitarist from Europe, the band, of course, who did the Final Countdown. And this album is called Face the Truth. And on here, he has a wonderful collaboration with Deep Purple former bassist and singer Glenn Hughes. The vocals on this album, especially given the sort of time, which was early 90s, I think Glenn was starting to come out of kind of a drug oblivion that he had in the 80s, and the vocals on this album are tremendous. The opening song, which is the title track, Face the Truth, is one of the greatest hard rock openers ever for sure. It's fantastic. That's at number 14. At number 13, gone with Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin 3, one of my favourite albums by them, alongside Led Zeppelin 4. Could have gone with Good Times, Bad Times from the first album. Some people might have gone with Whole Lotta Love, but I think it's overly long. I love the Immigrant Song. It's to the point. It's kind of upbeat. It's rocky, almost more rocky than anything else on this album. But it's a great opener to what is a really good album. And that's at 13. At 12 is the opening song from the debut album from British blues rock band Stray. Great album. The opening song is called All in Your Mind, which I think Iron Maiden covered on a B-side. It's long for an opening song. It's 9.25 minutes. It's brilliant. The guitar work on it is off the chart. It's just psychedelics, wah-wah stuff going on. It's just tremendous. It's the best song on the album, I think. Some people might put others on there, but it's brilliant. And if you don't know All in Your Mind by Stray, you must. At number 11, I've gone with a band I saw 4 or 5 times live, and it's the opening track from 2112. So the album before this was Caress of Steel, which was a bit of a turkey, and I think the record company put them under a bit of pressure to produce something a lot better, otherwise they might have dropped them. And they brought out this, which is not necessarily their best album, but it's certainly seen as one of their definitive albums. Concept album. The first side is one side of vinyl of kind of one song, a suite of songs if you like, called 2112, and the opening track is Overture, a natural opener. It's an instrumental which really features Alex Lifeson, the guitarist, to the fore, and it's a brilliant way to start what is a really good album. At number 10 is a new wave of British heavy metal band that I saw several times live. I met them a couple of times. They're really nice fellas. I'm devastated for them they didn't have more success. The band is Diamond Head, and the album is the White Album. The opening song is called Lightning to the Nations, which is often what this album got called when it got reissued later on. I bought the album at the gig and got it signed, and several years ago, or a long time ago, 20 years ago probably, I sold it. So I don't know why. I sold it for quite a lot of money, and I really regretted it. Now, I went with a couple of mates to that gig, and one of my mates was Paul, and he also had his album signed, and I bought it off him. So anyway, brilliant opener. Lightning to the Nations, which has got a dun 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 at the start, really great opener, and then the best woo you're likely to hear in hard rock. It's just amazing. Sean Harris, the vocalist, fantastic. Great song, Lightning to the Nations, Diamond Head. At number 9, a band I saw about 5 times in different incarnations, one of the greatest live bands easily of all time, just brilliant. And it's Thin Lizzy, and it's the opening song from the album Jailbreak, often seen as their greatest album. I think it probably is their greatest studio album. It's got Emerald on it, it's got Cowboy Song, it's got Boys Are Back in Town, it's got Warriors. It's also got the classic opener Jailbreak, which is just an amazing opener. I adore it. They've just brought out a double of this album and Johnny the Fox called 76, with lots of like new mixes and demos and so on, which I've just listened to on Spotify. It's really good. Classic album, classic opener. I love Thin Lizzy. At number 8, a band whose guitarist changed the sound of guitar. The second most influential guitarist of all time after Jimi Hendrix was Eddie Van Halen. And the album is Fair Warning. This is a darker album. They're kind of party band really, but this is a darker album by them. And the opening song, Mean Street, has the guitar work at the start is just breathtaking. It's just amazing when he's doing all this kind of tapping on his fretboard. It's just incredible. The guitar work is tremendous, and that is a brilliant opening song. That's Mean Street from Fair Warning by Van Halen. At number 7 is a band kind of linked to Van Halen because it features Sammy Hagar on vocals, a very young Sammy Hagar. It's the first band I ever saw live, and I can't remember them, which is bizarre. I was only 11, and I don't remember them. The album, or the band, is Montrose. The album is their debut album from 1973. I saw them in 74, Support Status Quo. So it features a very young Sammy Hagar, and the opening song, Rock the Nation. Oh, it's wonderful. And if I ever have a radio show, a national radio show, which is hugely unlikely, but if I do, I will start every show with Rock the Nation, or at least part of that. It's just, that would be the signature tune to that radio show. It's just a brilliant opener. So Montrose supported Status Quo in 74. I love Quo. I could have chosen a number of songs by Status Quo. Little Lady, Don't Waste My Time, Roll Over, Lay Down. But I've gone with the opener from this album. This is Blue for You from, what's this, 76. This is the album with Mystery Song on it, and Rain, and some great songs on here. But the opening song, I think, is their greatest opening song, and that's Is There a Better Way? Oh God, I love it. What a song. What a way to, what a statement as the opening song on an album. Fantastic. Next up is a band that's often seen as the fourth in a kind of holy trinity plus one of British rock bands. So Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, and of course Uriah Heep. This is from, what's it, 72, Look at Yourself. Great album, Shadows of Grief, good song, Love Machine, July Morning, tremendous stuff. But the opening song is the title track, Look at Yourself, which is, I think, their best song. It's also one of the greatest British hard rock songs from the 1970s. It's tremendous opener, love it. In 1980, I saw this next band. Now, in 1979, in December, I was due to see AC/DC and the support band with the Pirates. I was meant to be seeing them at Southampton Gaumont, but it was at the very last minute. We were literally just about to get on the train, and it was cancelled. And it was rescheduled for January in 1980. The loudest gig I've ever been to. Diamond Head with a support band. It was amazing, amazing evening. They were so loud, it affected my ears for several days after. It really did. And that was Bon Scott's last ever concert. And I'm privileged to have been to that amazing band. And then in November, they did, I think, 2 dates at the Southampton Gaumont in November. I went to see them on the first date, and I think Starfighters were the support band. And I went to see them with Brian Johnson as the vocalist. And I knew the new album, and of course the new album was Back in Black by AC/DC. Great album, and they started the concert with Back in Black, with the opening track from Back in Black, Hell's Bells, with the tolling bell. What a brilliant way to start the album. Now, this isn't in my top 4 or 5 AC/DC albums, if I'm really honest. I love Hell's Bells, I love Shoot to Thrill, I like Shake a Leg. Beyond that, not really sure. Is it because it's overplayed? No, I just don't really like Brian Johnson's vocals, and I'm very biased towards the Bon Scott era of the band. I did meet the band, I got their autographs. There's Angus Young, Phil Rudd, Brian Johnson. But Hell's Bells, what an opener to an album. Brilliant. One of the greatest albums of all time. Next, one of the greatest hard rock albums, one of the greatest albums of all time is Rising by Rainbow. Obviously, Ritchie Blackmore's band after he left Deep Purple. This is their second album. Best lineup of the band, featuring Tony Carey, who provides the keyboard to the start of the album on a song called Tarot Woman, which has a great keyboard start, and then the riff comes in from Ritchie Blackmore, and then all the band start. It's just brilliant. This album is nearly perfect for me. It's just one song. If that was changed, it would be perfect. But the opener, Tarot Woman, is wonderful. That's at number 3. At number 2, you might be surprised to see this band at number 2. It's my favourite band, and that's Deep Purple. And the track comes from this album. So in 1968, 69, they were kind of... their first 3 albums were all right. They had a particular sound. They had a very baritone kind of singer in Rod Evans. And he was dismissed from the band and replaced by Ian Gillan. And their bassist, Nick Simper, also was left the band and replaced by Roger Glover. And the input from those 2 players in terms of singing and composition and so on really changed the band's sound. Now, they did a concerto for orchestra just before this, but the title, In Rock, was like, hey, we're a rock band. And the opening song, Speed King, with its kind of crescendo of noise at the start with the organ and the guitars and the drums, the noise it creates is just such a booming statement of intent at the start of the album. It's just insane. If you live in the States, you would have the American version of it, which cuts that out. It cuts a minute off the start of Speaking, which is utterly bizarre because it's just such a brilliant... Now, Deep Purple, quite often, they're the best song on the album, Burn, Stormbringer, Fireball, that quite often was... Highway Star was quite often the best song on the album. I don't think Speed King is the best song on the album, but it's just a brilliant opening song. So, what's the greatest hard rock opening song of all time? There's one band I haven't mentioned, and of course that band is Black Sabbath, and their greatest opening song, I think, is their greatest song, and that's Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath from the album Black Sabbath from 1970, the song that changed everything. The riff in it is just insane. It's got that kind of thunder and lightning at the start and the tolling bell. It's really creepy. It goes with the album cover. It's just a brilliant way to start the album. And it didn't just set the scene and set the tone for this album, it set the tone for rock music after it. And that for me is the greatest opening track on any hard rock album. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and I'm sure I'll be back some point with another video. Cheers all, see ya.